This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
Right now on 1480 KRAE, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 KRAE. And good morning and welcome to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti, and we get a chance to bring on our first guest, Hall of Fame head coach Jim Shaffer of the Cheyenne Central Indians. And Coach, congratulations on two big wins. Again, going over the hill and winning at the Fieldhouse against Laramie, and then winning at Story Gym against Cheyenne South. However, with those two wins, I don't want to use the word costly, but a couple of injuries. I hope they're not serious as you head into the final game of the season and looking ahead towards the regional playoffs. Tell us a little bit, update us on Brown and Willinger.
Well, Zach, his ankle goes back to that first game with East. He missed 4 games, and we got him back last week, and he's just starting to get back. He's probably, I would say, 75-80% at this point. It's just going to be a matter of managing his ankle the rest of the year and hoping that he doesn't re-injure it. You know, we'll tape it and brace it, and it's just going to be what he can play through. It's going to be sore, and he's a tough kid. So just, you know, whatever we can get out of him will be great. And then James Brown hurt his in the second quarter against Laramie. Came out, got it taped, went back in, played pretty well in the second half. Got up Saturday and it was swollen and sore, and so we held him out Saturday. Held him out of practice yesterday, and we'll see how he is today.
Coach, regarding those two injuries, obviously we have East versus Central to round out the regular season coming up this Friday night live at Story Gymnasium. But, you know, for your team, Coach, again, as our understanding is for the Cheyenne Central Indians, that you're kind of solidified as that 2 seed here in the Southeast Quadrant as we focus up the East Regional Tournament coming up here in a week, or at least, again, 2 weeks. Again, will we see minutes out of both Brown and Willinger coming up, or is this an opportunity, as you know you are the 2 seed, to kind of rest them as well, too, and get them healthy for that regional tournament?
We'll just have to see what they look like in practice the next couple days. Like I said, with Zach, I mean, his is going to be sore, and we're just going to have to manage that the rest of the year. And then James, we'll see how he's reacted to treatment and how that looks today with him. But, you know, that's a possibility that we hold him out because we are locked into the 2. Even if we beat East and tie for first place in the league, they'll have the tiebreaker. So no matter what, we're going to go in as the 2 seed. You know, obviously it's East Central, and it's a game we would love to win and you know, go into regional off a big win and play them well. But we'll have to see how those injuries are. And we've got some guys sick. You know, Jackson Whitworth went home today with 101-degree temperature, so. Don't know what that looks like. We've had a couple guys with the flu, so we're I don't know what practice is going to look like today. We're pretty shorthanded.
You know, Coach, I want to go back to Saturday's win against Cheyenne South. Matter of fact, one of your assistants, Randy Philbin, I remember, way back when, as I get to say this, I remember a game, it was a regional tournament where the Central Indians under the late Dwayne Cook were trailing 27-3 at halftime. Explain or is it one of those phenomena that you just sit back and watch your team perform the way they did? I mean, they were absolutely superb. And, I mean, it tossed a shutout in the first quarter. I mean, this was one of those games where, gosh, every X that you put down on the chart worked for you.
Yeah, I mean, we played really well early, especially defensively, and, you know, got out in transition and got some easy shots. And then, you know, South didn't make any shots. They just struggled to score, and you know those. I've been on both sides of those a little bit, and you know when you're on the bad end of that, it's hard to sit through, and it just kind of mushrooms on you, and no matter what you do, it seems to get worse. So it was one of those deals for South, but I thought we played really well, and especially on the defensive end of the floor.
Coach, player I want to spotlight in that Saturday's contest that we saw there at Story was in filling in the void, or at least in the shoes of James Brown with him sitting down in that contest, was Collier on the inside. He was a big man. He made his presence felt. I gave him kind of that player of the game for the Cheyenne Central Indians. But talk about his play in Saturday and how he could be used moving forward again, whether it is East versus Central or, again, that East Regional tournament coming up.
Well, I mean, with Bronson Collier, he wasn't playing much earlier in the year, and that probably tells you how smart I am, because he's playing pretty well right now and worked his way into some time. So, as a senior, the way he handled that, not playing well early and hanging in there and staying with it and getting to the point he is now, I can't say enough about Bronson and his attitude and how well he handled that. But you're right, he's playing well for us, and he gives us a big body. We don't have much size, and he does give us a bigger body that can rebound and defend in the post a little bit. And, he's done a nice job on the offensive glass, and really done a nice job in terms of playing himself into some playing time.
Coach, you look at the 2 wins Friday and then bouncing back Saturday afternoon against Cheyenne South, the wins Friday night against Laramie. And, again, you struggled a couple weeks before that with the Northeast quadrant, but tell us how important those 2 wins were, I guess, for the psyche of this team.
Well, we lost 4 straight. We lost that one to East by 1, in the last couple seconds. And, we lost Zach Wiltinger in that game, which really hurt us. And then we go on the road trip that's you play at Natrona on a Friday, and then you have to get it over to Sheridan and play at Sheridan on a Saturday, which is just a really tough road trip. And we didn't get into Sheridan. We played really poorly at Natrona and got our butts beat pretty bad. And then we don't get into Sheridan until it's almost 1:30 in the morning before we got there, and we get up and start games at 10 in the morning. So that was a tough day, and I thought we bounced back and did some decent things against Sheridan, who's a good basketball team, especially when they're shooting the basketball well. And we played much better Saturday than we did that Friday night game against Natrona. So, we'd lost 3 straight at that point, and then we come back and have a good Thunder Basin team that beats us by 2 with free throws in the last couple seconds. And but since that point, we won 3 straight, and we've kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, got our groove back, and we're starting to play better again. So getting Zach Wiltinger back has helped, and we'll hopefully play through these injuries and be playing our best basketball when we get into the regional tournament.
Coach, obviously you want to carry that momentum into that East Regional Tournament. Again, it starts coming up this Friday night against Cheyenne East. In that contest, outside of, again, winning or trying to defeat the East High Thunderbirds, what are you looking for your team as we end the regular season here in town? Is it offense? Is it carrying over that defensive effort that we saw against Cheyenne South? What are key takeaways that you're hoping to see out of your team coming up this Friday night?
Well, I mean, for us, it always starts on the defensive end, because we've got to defend and rebound in order to get out and play in transition. I think offensively we're at our best when we play fast and get up and down the floor and play in transition, and that's really hard to do when the other team is scoring. So, it starts with playing defense and rebounding the basketball, and that allows us to get out in transition and play in the open court, and I think that's where we're at our best. So we need to continue to do those things. I think we've been much better defensively here the second half of the year, and offensively, obviously, our half-court stuff has to get better. But you just want to, play well on Friday night against the East, and, like I said, be playing your best basketball going into the regional tournament.
I always like to spotlight a player, Coach, and let's talk about Sammy Shumway. And, again, at the point this year, you're starting guard. And, a point once in a while is going to make a turnover or 2 during a ball game, but I have noticed from when we had you down at Greeley to the point that I saw on Saturday against Cheyenne South, just the marked improvement, the confidence, and again, too, they can throw a box and 1 at you. They can go man on man. Shumway really can penetrate the paint and find that open guy, and once in a while he could sink a 3 for you as well, too. But I'll tell you what, I really enjoy watching how he has turned himself into one of the premier point guards in this conference.
Well, you're right. He's playing well, and he's the engine that makes us go. I mean, for us to be good in transition, He's got to push the basketball, and he's got to, throw the ball ahead and get the basketball to open guys. And that piece of things has been really good here as of late, and he's doing a really nice job for us. So he's one of the few guys we've been able to keep healthy at this point, and so we'll cross our fingers and hope that continues. And for an undersized, skinny kid, he's been really good. And like I said, he's the engine that really makes us go.
All right, Coach. Well, we're looking forward to catching up with you Friday evening, and again, we will see you again for East Central 2.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate it.
Head coach Jim Shaffer of the Cheyenne Central Indians joining us here on 1480 K-Ray. You know, Nick, as we keep it here and we get ready for the East Regional playoffs, and again, where Cheyenne Central solidified that number 2 spot, East is already number 1. Laramie's going to be 3 and South 4. I actually like Central's positioning as they head to the East Regionals. They'll get right now, if I look at it right, they've got the Camels as that number 3 seed. And you know what? We saw the Camels play Cheyenne East. They're good, but they're young. I think, again, you get a healthy James Brown back on the floor. You get as healthy as Zach Wollinger can be. Again, Sawyer. You look at Shumway along with Jackson Whitworth. I'm telling you, they could make some serious noise in this Eastern Regional playoff.
Well, I think that's the focus right now for the Indians. It's more so of, again, we talked about the Saturday's contest against Cheyenne South, or at least post-game, saying, will James Brown play in Friday's contest against Cheyenne East? I don't see it, or if it is, it's limited time. Same with Willinger. Again, who's going to be out there for Cheyenne Central? Again, I expect, especially on the inside, Collier probably will get a lot of time out there for Coach Shaffer, especially the way he's playing. And again, Coach Shaffer kind of agreed he's really been a big spotlight, again, a go-getter out there for the Indians. Again, Central, you're solidified in that 2 spot. Is it worth it to take down your rival to risk even more injury as you head in? Obviously, you want that momentum. It's kind of, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation right now for Coach Shaffer and for the Cheyenne Central Indians. But, again, I figure take this opportunity, rest your team, get some good reps for those who are, again, not the starting 5, kind of mix up a little offensive, defensive scheme, see what you can do, and again, kind of ride some wave of momentum from the previous week of those wins against Laramie and Cheyenne South, and just kind of focus up on that East Regional tournament coming up next week up there at Natrona County. For the Indians right now, again, like I said, do I expect James Brown to play in Friday's contest? I don't think so. If it is, it's very limited minutes. I don't think it's worth the risk of injuring him further or whoever else further in a game that, again, it's kind of a wash regarding the standings, or at least regarding seedings, because, again, right now, what's every team's focus is, especially for East and Central, your focus is that regional tournament.
What about Rusty Horsley and the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds? I mean,
I figure they're going to rest people too. They're solid at that one spot. They know where they stand. Obviously, again, you want to beat your rival, and that's kind of the key thing here is you want momentum. You want that confidence going into next week. But, again, can we see a lot of that starting 5 not step out on the court, or at least have a whole lot of time coming up Friday night? Yeah, I think so. I think Coach Horsley understands the situation that we don't need to go hard right now. Obviously, both teams want to get that victory, but you don't want to risk any more injuries where, again, East and Central on the boys' side have dealt with a lot of injuries here in the past couple of weeks that don't further it any more, and keep your team as close to 100% as you can with the bodies that you do have remaining. Because, again, the goal is right now is to be one of the 4 seeds out of 8 teams to make it onto the state tournament.
Well, you only have the one game this week, and then, again, you get a chance to rest up a little bit. I don't want this to turn into a glorified practice game between East and Central, because it is East Central. But like you said, the momentum of this game, we already know East is 1. We already know Central is 2. So heading into this,
I mean, plain and simple.
do you see 3/4 out of these guys? That starting.
Do we see a half? Do we see 3/4? I think that's probably the realistic expectation. Again, don't expect, for instance, again, we spotlight Shumway. I don't think he's playing the full 32 minutes out there for Cheyenne Central. I don't think there's any of that starting 5 that will play the full 32 for either side. Just, again, with what's, upcoming next week up there in Natrona County, where, again, you are on the boys' side. Again, we talked about how wide open this 4A East is on the boys' side, where you got to worry about who your, Northeast opponent is going to be, whether it is Natrona, whether it is Campbell County, whether it is Thunder Basin, whether it is Sheridan. Again, all 4 of those teams have proven that they can win. They can defeat Southeast teams, and that's kind of the concern right now. It's pretty much of, yes, it is a rivalry. It is the Cap City big-time contest. It's going to be a packed house at Story Gymnasium, as it always is for East versus Central. But, again, for both Rusty Horsey, for Jim Shaffer, I think their focus right now is the do-or-die tournament. That is the East Regional up there in Natrona County.
And I would figure at Casper Natrona, since they will be the number 4 seed, they're going to try to pack that place with Natrona fans. So
we've seen Natrona pull off the upset at home.
And we would see that being the late-night game. That'd be the last game of the session. So, East is going to have their hands full.
Yeah, we'll have to see again how the tournament bracket kind of sizes up again. Will they give that favorability to Natrona County? Again, we'll see again how the Activities Association does size that up. For instance, again, when we talk about Class 2A, Sundance and Moorcroft are the host sides for Class 2A on the East Regional side, which again is happening this week or should happen. Again, we'll see how the weather plays a factor again coming up this week. But again, I do believe for that Sundance and Pine Bluffs contest, I do believe, again, we have the brackets here in front of us, I do believe that is not the final game of that, at least first round, at least coming up on the boys' side. Looks like, actually,
they're the
8:30 game. So,
yeah,
again, they are up there with Moorcroft. So, I guess anticipate in 4A that Natrona County, both girls and boys, will have that benefit of being the last, at least, team up to bat in those contests. So, but either way, though, again, if it is Chinese taking on Natrona County, there at Natrona County, you kind of worry. You kind of worry right now if that's how things are going to size up, just due to the fact, again, we go back a couple of years ago where, again, East taking on a Casper Kelly Walsh team. That, again, East was the clear odds-on favorite. No one thought Kelly Walsh could pull it off. Again, Kelly Walsh had the benefit of hosting a postseason game just due to the fact that the Swede was hosting Region 9 tournament at that time. That, again, pulled off the upset. So there is that. And obviously that's going to sit in the back of the mind of one Coach Rusty Horsley of, we've been here before. We've seen this before. That's kind of our main concern. And, again, I think that's what kind of at least kind of tailors this Friday night's contest between East and Central on the boys' side, that we got to focus up. We again, East Regional Tournament is a lot more important than, unfortunately, than what is East versus Central, where, again, nothing – the only benefit is more confidence and momentum for the team who wins this game. But outside of that, again, it doesn't move you in the standings. It doesn't make your seeding higher or lower. You're pretty much set in stone. Your focus is, again, now the regional tournament.
If I look at the regional tournament brackets, where everything stands right now, out of the 8 teams, I see 5 vying for 4, if that makes any sense. That's just my opinion. I see 3 out of the Northeast, and I see 2 out of the Southeast.
I think you have 7 out. On the boys' side, I think you have 7
legit.
7 legit. And again, the fringe right now is Laramie. I think Laramie, again, they did compete. They only lost by 2 points. Again, it was a last-second bucket on the road at the Fieldhouse to at least lose to that Cheyenne Central Indians team. So, again, don't overlook Laramie. Obviously, they won't meet with the Southeast Quadra team until possibly the second round. So, for the Laramie Plainsmen, can they take on, or could they take down a Thunder or a Sheridan?
Don't know.
Who knows right now? Again, this Laramie team, and again, we have these opportunity to talk with David Settle last week, previewing the Plainsmen, saying, hey, it's a team that's kind of been a work in progress. They're getting healthy bodies back, but who knows what kind of damage they can make in the postseason. Again, on the boys' side, Class 4A in the East Regional Tournament, I think, in my opinion, there's possible 7 teams right now going for those 4 spots. The fringe right now is Laramie. The team that you can toss out right now, especially after the play that we saw on Saturday, is Cheyenne South. Cheyenne South right now can't match up to any of these teams, unfortunately. South is way undersized, And right now, the confidence, momentum, they're plain and simple, there is none right now for the Fighting Bison. That's the unfortunate thing.
Well,
and that's
and
a
they
team
would
that
have Sheridan.
Well, again, for right now, for Cheyenne South, yeah, again, do you match up against Sheridan? No. Sheridan's got a lot of height. They're a big group. They're a big-size team up
fast.
there in Northeast, yeah, without a doubt. Cheyenne South, it's unfortunate to say right now, but again, for the Fighting Bison and for Coach Chad O'Brien, your team's one of the only right now, in my opinion, in the 4A East side of the boys' side that team I don't expect to win a game coming up in the East Regional Tournament.
And where you and I will differ a little bit, I kind of dismiss Laramie because they open up with Thunder, and I kind of dismiss Natrona because I do believe even playing at Casper Natrona in the enemy gym with all their fans there, I still think talent-wise, Cheyenne East, again, I really like the play of Garrett Schlabs as of late. Drew Jackson, he's been a one-man wrecking crew. Jolly, he's the key. I think right now, if you look at
you can't afford Kaiser Jolly to have an off night.
Yeah, Jolly is the key. Mirich is pretty steady out there for them. And again, Cam Hayes. And you can tell the difference in Cam Hayes coming off the bench to Cam Hayes starting right now. It's a marked difference because, again, Cam would come off the bench. You could be guaranteed 15 points. Now that he's got to be in there chugging away as many minutes as Rusty Horsley needs him out there, you can see it's taxing on him a little bit, and he's getting bounced around, especially at that floor.
That's the difference right now for Cheyenne East, where again the Thunderbirds, you kind of know pieces that are available to play, and again are going to be the point getters and again difference makers out there for Cheyenne East. For Cheyenne Central, it's something that I think right now benefits the Indians in a big way coming up in the East Regional Tournament. That again, where we saw this play by Collier. And again, to spotlight him of what he did against Cheyenne South was unbelievable. He was, again, a force to be reckoned with on the inside against South. Could not stop him at all. For Cheyenne Central, though, it's something that, again, for Coach Shaffer, this is kind of a good problem to have, a good dilemma to have of who do you start, who you put out there. Do you keep with the momentum of Collier? Do you find a way to put him and James Brown, where, again, you got the Twin Towers up there to compete for the Cheyenne Central Indians? It's kind of a good problem to have where East we talk about the bench play where it's lacking. Central has the opposite, at least non-problem of that. They got options on the bench, and they really showcased their talent here this past week with the injuries. He's creeping up right now for the Indians. It's now for Coach Shaffer, again, let's shift our focus away from East Central. It's more so now up at Natrona County next weekend. What do you do? Again, do you ride the hot hand of Collier? Do you find a way to pair with James Brown that's going to be hopefully a near 100%?
Well,
I think right now for Coach Shaffer, he's in a good position, and it's a happy problem, so to speak, of I got so many talent, so much weapons. Where do I go?
Well, see, with Coach Shaffer right now, and you look at, Sammy Shunway is pretty set in stone. Jackson Whitworth, and hopefully he gets over that bug. Joe Sawyer's been steady Eddie all season for him. But with Bronson Collier right now, again, that piece can be plugged in Brown's spot. That piece can be plugged in Wildinger's spot. So, again, and again, too, he could be right in the middle as well. And that would allow Coach Shaffer to sit both Willinger and Brown down. But the point is, you're right. Height is a very key ingredient right now, especially as you come to that Eastern Regional. And again,
and if you want to match up with the size of Sheridan, plain and simple, if I'm Coach Shaffer, I go Collier, I go Brown. I get both of those bigs out there to fight on the inside. And plain and simple, I think that would be a good enough formula to take down, again, a Sheridan team if those teams do match up in later rounds of that regional tournament. Again, as we look, again, we still have a couple games remaining here in the regular season for Class 4A, Class 3A, but again, postseason is here, where it's right around the corner. It's a week away at this point in time. Again, on the boys' side, if I got to make an early prediction of how I think things will go, again, as much as I say 7 teams have legitimate shots of getting those 4 spots to represent the East in Class 4A, for me personally, I would go chalk Sheridan Thunder, East Central are your teams that will represent the Eastern Conference moving up. I think that's it. Will a team go a perfect unbeaten route? Yes, that'll have to happen, but it's something that either way, again, I think Sheridan's going to have an easy time against South. Nothing against Fighting Bison, but again, what we saw this past Saturday, I think Sheridan has no problem handling business against Cheyenne South if that is the 1 versus 4 matchup. East versus Natrona, I worry. I'm concerned, but I still think East wins that contest. But who are the 4 teams, in my opinion, as it stands right now, as the body of basketball we've seen at this point in time with a handful of games remaining here this week? East, Central, Sheridan, Thunder. I think those are the teams that, again, will take over those 4 spots on the boys' side up at the state tournament.
Well, and again, too, with Central, as they take on let's say they take on the Camels, I think we'll see a different Central team than we saw at the Fieldhouse, even though they won. But the point is, with the Camels, they're young. They're and I don't want to use the word inexperienced. Mason Drew as a sophomore is pretty good. But size-wise, Central has the size to match up against the Camels. And again, as I mentioned earlier with Sammy Shumway, I think Sammy Shumway right now is playing his best basketball at the point, so you can depend on him to drop the ball off to the bigs, and again too, spread the ball around throughout the court. So I feel pretty confident with Central in that first round. Again, as I've been to the old Natrona, I haven't been to the new gym at Natrona, but it sounds like the old dungeon has turned into the new dungeon. I don't expect big scores. You know what I'm saying? Especially with East and Natrona in the opening contest.
It's going to be a dogfight. Again, we saw that on both the girls and boys side, that, again, going to Natrona, even if these teams are a little bit below in the standings, they still put up a good fight up there in Casper. So it is a concern right now, but I think East has that opportunity to get past Natrona if that is so be the case, especially in that first round, that opening round for the East Regional Tournament. Very quickly, as we're, again, need to take a break here, but scores very quickly in Class 4A. We'll get into 2A action from this past week with, again, Burns and Pine Bluffs. Talk about their 2A regional upcoming, again, this weekend up there at Moorcroft and Sundance here in the state of Wyoming. But 4A scores from this past week, again, Wednesday, games that we had here live on the boys' side, Cheyenne East defeating Cheyenne South, 76-43. Thursday's action, East taking on Laramie. East, the number 1 team in Class 4A, taking down Laramie 74-66. Friday's action, Central, as we talked about, again, the Indians defeating Laramie, the Plainsmen at the Fieldhouse, 48-46. And then Saturday's lone contest in Class 4A, Central cruising. And again, I'll use that terminology. They cruise over Cheyenne South 61-12. Again, it was 31-0 going into the second quarter. It was a 31 or 33-point run for Cheyenne Central.
Well, think about it. When's the last time we called a running clock early in the third quarter?
We had a legitimate shot of a running clock in the second quarter.
Yeah,
before half even started. So again, it was a rough afternoon for Cheyenne South. Again, how you pick and choose your words. It was more so. It was rough for South. It was fantastic and near perfect for Cheyenne Central. Again, that was the most that was the most unbelievable contest I've ever seen. A start like that, again, you've seen a lot of more basketball than I have on the high school ranks throughout this entire state. But for me personally, again, 7 years out here now doing this, again, covering all 3 of our high schools here in town, again, the 2 out in the county, I've never seen anything like that. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. And again, it talks about the situation right now for Cheyenne South of how dire athletics is right now. That, again, even in a basketball game, we're talking about running clocks early on compared to, again, where we talk with football, again, of how often they are dealing with running clocks. Again, that's a 45-point lead in football, 40 points here in basketball. Again, Saturday's afternoon contest, again, on the boys' side at least, that was shocking.
Well, it's got, and again, like you said, we got to take a break here, and we will do this after I get done with this the statement. For Wendy Johnson, the athletic director, brand new to Cheyenne South, her first season, this has got to be tough on her because she's come from successful programs in Idaho. So, seeing this up close and personal firsthand.
As you're trying to change the culture into winning culture, again, that's not how you started with, again, what you did on Saturday.
And again, too, after the seasons are over, all of the sports, do you sit back and kind of give everybody a pass for this first season, and then
I think you have to,
and then we try to build for the next season, or do you make changes I mean, that's the thing you got to take a look at, too, because the programs, again, have struggled like they have in the past. And it really is tough because, again, the kids on both the boys and the girls, and I know we'll get to the girls' side here when we come back after the break, but, again, they're out there competing. It's not like they just say, hey, Central, here's,
kind of roll over and die situation.
They don't do that. They're out there giving you 32 minutes of basketball. Unfortunately, things just aren't, the clown's mouth is not letting buckets go in.
Take a time out again. We'll talk more about the Cheyenne South situation again, kind of dive into athletics on that again, as we'll get into Class 2A boys action, and then talk about, again, girls high school hoops as well, too, again, 4A, 2A, give you kind of the stats on that. But, again, we'll talk more about South.
All right, this is the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. We're back after these words right here on 1480 K-Ray.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
I'm Brandon Warner with the Silent Witness Crime of the Week. The Laramie County Sheriff's Office is seeking information related to a theft that occurred at Archer Event Center. On January 19th, the maintenance garage was entered. A white 2011 Ford Ranger and power tools were taken. If you have information about this or their crime, call Crime Stoppers Silent Witness at 638-TIPS or on the web at silentwitnesslaramecounty.com. You will remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Together, we can make a difference.
There may be a chill in the air, but the action is always hot and heavy at the three locations of Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway, and on Delrange Boulevard next to Culver's and Office Depot. You can watch and place your pari-mutuel wager on a variety of simulcast horse races from the nation and the world's tracks. And check out the excellent selections of games offered by Wyoming Downs, where you can win a lot of cash. Remember to pick up your player's card and enjoy Triple Points Monday and Club 55 midweek, along with other specials. Win big today and bring your friends to Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard. For more information, go to wydowns.com.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Hacienda Guadalajara at 317 East Lincoln Way. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried and true recipes, with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Hacienda Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
Tired of choosing between spending and saving? Platte Valley Bank can help you take care of everything without missing anything. Managing your money can seem overwhelming. PV Budget helps you evaluate your spending, set savings goals, and create a budget that's easy to follow. Look for the PV Budget tool next time you log on to your online or mobile banking account. Take charge of your money and get your financial life on track. Platte Valley Bank, you belong here.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Weather-wise for today, winter storm warning is in effect for tonight through tomorrow night. Partly sunny and windy for today. Expect a daytime high near 50. Westerly winds at 25 to 30, gusting as high as 45. For tonight, cloudy with a chance of rain and snow mixed this evening. Then all snow after 9 p.m. The snow could be heavy at times. Our low down to 3 degrees with blustery conditions. New snow accumulation of 3 to 7 inches possible. For tomorrow, Wednesday, snow continuing. Our high will be only 2 degrees below zero during the afternoon. With blustery conditions, new snow accumulation of 2 to 4 inches possible. Well, Well, as we get ready to embark on March Madness, Mother Nature's got to shake her finger at us and say, hey, you know what? I got the last say. And I guess, Nick, for us, the good news is we're home on Friday night over at Story Gym. I do feel for both Burns and Pine, they've got to make a long, long road trip to Sundance and Moorcroft.
Well,
for
the
2A regionals.
understanding right now for both teams, or both schools, I should say, again, all four of those teams are on the road right now to, again, travel up to the northeast portion of the state, again, up there to Sundance and Moorcroft. So, again, they're on the road right now to beat the storm. Don't know how the other teams, again, traveling, part of this East Regional, going up, at least traveling up there. Not sure if they're leaving today as well, too, similar to Pine and Burns, but we'll see, again, what happens. Again, we'll even see, again, regarding East versus Central, we have seen where game can get pushed back, moved to another date. Just due to the fact that, again, conditions could be rough enough in town that folks, or at least kind of administrators, decide, hey, we're not fans, parents, players, whatever. Again, we're not going to allow you on the road. So we'll see if we still play on Friday. Feel pretty confident that we should. But
Everything's
again,
a wait and see kind of to see what the storm actually dumps.
Yeah, plain and simple. Going back again, we talked about starting to see that enthusiasm in Cheyenne South in the hallways. And she said, yes, it's a lot better than where it was in the beginning. And you're starting to see, again, some of those athletes have a bit of that swagger. But, it is something right now, it is concerning, especially what we saw on Saturday. Again, on Saturday, and looking at that boys contest, you worry right now, especially with the girls. Definitely took a step back. And again, it's nothing against, Coach Epler, again, or his team. It's more so that graduated a lot of pieces. The cupboard was extremely bare, and you're kind of dealing with a fresh, mold of clay with your team right now. Where, again, kind of similar to what we talked with Coach Quigley of Cheyenne South on the softball side of, hey, I got some athletes out here that have never touched a basketball or a softball or this or that. So that's kind of the concern right now over Cheyenne South. Boys, same situation on the basketball side where, again, there was a little bit of momentum, whether it was Coach Shaffer heading into, again, Coach Bailey, and then Coach Bailey, again, resigning now with Coach Bryan, who, again, is familiar with Cheyenne South athletics, again, former girls head coach there at Cheyenne South. But that's kind of the concern right now, especially of the main athletic programs there at Cheyenne South. Outside of football, again, give credit to Coach Moody. I feel like that took a step forward this season. That's, again, it feels like right now for Cheyenne South, it's a car stuck in mud. That wheel keeps on turning and digging itself deeper and deeper in that mud, and it's just not going anywhere right now. That's kind of the concern.
Well, and again, too, you look at the two programs combined have 5 wins. 1 win for the girls and 4 wins for the guys. And
yeah, for the girls, very quickly, again, on a 19-game losing streak. Their only win was against a winless Jackson Lady Bronx team over there in Class 4A on the west side. For the boys, again, last time we saw them pick up a victory was Green River. Part of, again, the James Johnson Winter Classic. That was early January. For Cheyenne South, yeah, for the boys, and again, same for the girls, yeah, 5 combined wins. It's a tough situation over there right now. Again, for Wendy Johnson, will she move on from Coach Epler or Coach Bryan after this season? No, I don't think so. Again, you ask, is this kind of a past season for every athletic coach there at Cheyenne South? Yes, without a doubt. The question is, now you move into next season, if South, especially on this basketball side, again, curious about football as well, too, with Coach Moody. Don't expect him to, if he has another rough year next year, again, will he be ousted? No, I doubt that. But now, again, with Coach Epler, with Coach Bryan, if we're still kind of stuck in the mud and we're still only garnering single-digit victories in a season, it kind of brings up a concern. And I would figure it's going to be a concern for at least Wendy Johnson right now of where do we find this winning nature? Where do we find this winning culture? Because right now it's not here. It's going to be, when is it going to come? And I think the realistic expectation, she's talked about it. We've talked with coaches plenty over at Cheyenne South. It's not going to be 23. It's not going to be in 24. Hopefully it's 25 and 26 is where we start seeing things kind of alter and change for the better of Cheyenne South. So right now, I think the state of athletics is to be expected at Cheyenne South, and hope that it changes in due time, even though, again, for the 7 years I've been here, again, I feel like I'm a broken record every single year we come to this point of hopefully next year will get better.
Well, let me put it to you in a different perspective, Nick. You sit in my chair as the dad, okay, and your son or daughter is going over to Johnson right now. And whether they're 8th grade, 7th grade, whatever the case may be, and like you said, it's not going to happen in 23, it's not going to happen in 24, maybe 25. But again, as a parent, first and foremost, you don't want to see your kids get boat raced. I mean, let's be real honest. That I hate even being behind the microphone because it's not fun. And when we get to do Central, South, East, South, whatever the case may be, I'm there cheering for both teams. But my point is, though, you're a parent and you're in that triad. And again, let's give the South part of Cheyenne a lot of kudos right now how it's growing. So again, more people will be going to South High School. But the point is, if you are that parent of that youngster, do you really want to expose them to that environment? Because again,
and that's where the epidemic, which again has been going on for a while here in Cheyenne, and that's kind of the issue as well too, is that again, borders are being defined each and every day. That again, folks, parents are looking at those opportunities and going, well, I don't want my athlete going to Cheyenne South. Here's where I will move or figure out some other loophole to go Central or East is now my new destination.
And let me interrupt you. You're that dad, okay? What's to say you can't use 2232 Del Range as your address? That would put your kid in the Central District.
No.
I'm just saying, I think the situation with Athletic Director Wendy Johnson, it's something that needs to be addressed. And again, do you bring in the top quality brand coaches? Again, first you got to find them a gig within Laramie County School District number 1 if you can. I think
you can. Again,
I think the only exception to the rule once was like Mike Jackson. He came from Sheridan to Cheyenne Central, and he worked out at the golf course at Cheyenne Country Club. And then he went into
our conversations
business
with Superintendent Crespo here at part of Laramie County School District number 1. Again, there's still a teacher shortage right now. So, I think there are positions available within the school district to again get those folks at least here in town. Again, similar, what we saw with Coach Moody again, getting him in as the football head coach over at Cheyenne South. So I don't think that's an issue. It's more so of you got to change the culture, and it according to again at least to Wendy, the culture is changing a bit right now at Cheyenne South, but situations of what we just saw this past Saturday night kind of puts up a big roadblock. And again, what's the state of athletics right now as we go post this past week, where again you have to take on the 2 better schools right now here in the city of Cheyenne, and they whipped on you, both boys and girls. That's the unfortunate thing, is that again you had 2 teams that went down again Wednesday and Saturday against Cheyenne East, Cheyenne Central, the fine schools that have had a lot of success over their tenure, and now you didn't even kind of muster up the same level to them right now, and that's kind of the concern right now, is that do moments like this, or what we just had, especially that Saturday game, and I spotlight the boys, and that's the unfortunate thing. It was nothing against, give credit to the Fighting Bison, those athletes, they fought all 32 minutes. They were out there grinding, and again, give credit to the athletes, but it's tough mentally, it's tough physically to do that, and again, and I think that's kind of the key factor is mentally of what is this team's psyche right now? What is the school's psyche? What is the athletic department psyche after, again, a situation of what you just had this Saturday afternoon where, again, that team was, I hate to say it, or at least use this terminology, was embarrassed. I think that was embarrassing of what happened.
Like I said, and we were talking about that, I've never seen a running clock midway through the 3rd quarter ever in basketball. And I want to shift gears. I want to go over to
Well, actually, I think we did. And again, I think it was earlier this season when, again, East was at Cheyenne South. We saw it in both of those contests.
Yeah, but it was
East
later.
and Grove.
It was later on in the game. This was right away as we came out of halftime.
Well, again, the key factor in that boys contest, again, we had a running clock opportunity midway through the second quarter. Yeah. That's the scary thing. That, again, it was even before half we had an opportunity at a running clock. That's similar to what we saw. We see with the football program in years past.
I want to shift gears and go over to the Lady Fighting Bison with Brody Epler. Yeah, they've only got one win against Cheyenne Central. I thought they performed well. And again, you got to remember, they had a big injury, Amaya Smith.
Yeah.
She went down what I think might have been early in the fourth quarter. They only and I say that they only lost by 20 to Cheyenne Central. And Central, to their credit, hey, they put up 70-plus points for the Lady Indians. This is a team that's been struggling to score over the last couple of games. They've been scoring. But against Cheyenne East, they also only lost by about, 20-plus as well.
And not to get away from the positive of where, again, yes, South did compete on the girls' side. Again, did lose pretty heavily, though, to both East and Central this week. Again, let's make note as well, too, or at least kind of tell the true story of what happened in those contests where, again, about early in the third quarter, again, both Central and East called off the Dogs. Kind of went to the bench play and said, hey, JVers, have your opportunity. We saw a lot of freshmen, especially for Cheyenne East, for Coach Westling, say, hey, here's your opportunity to go against Cheyenne South. So, again, the final score didn't reflect of how out ahead that game actually was in favor for East and Central on Saturday. So, again, make note of that, again, those teams basically saw an opportunity and said, hey, we're calling off the Dogs, and here we go it was for a good majority of that second half.
Everybody on Brody Epler's team's young. Maya Smith, I think, is the only senior. Bailey Williams was the only senior. And matter of fact, I think the Garcia young lady who came in late in the game, she was the other senior. So
which
Brody's
again,
got a young team, and I thought they performed well.
I get the youth argument, but again, we look, and I'll spotlight Cheyenne East, where again we talk about 3 freshmen on that team that make solid minutes for the JV and varsity. And again, that includes Jay Brown right now, who again is a superstar in the making as a freshman for Cheyenne East. Right. What is the difference between her position right now with the East High Lady Thunderbirds and the Cheyenne South Lady Fighting Bison under that kind of direction right now for them, where again, is youth a valid argument? I think for South's case, yes, it's a piece of the puzzle, but it is not it's not the entire equation, or at least solving to the equation, where again you look to Central, you look to East, you look to a lot of these teams, they're using underclassmen for good solid minutes that are again getting these teams wins.
Well, let me ask you this question: if you and myself and athletic director Wendy Johnson had a chance to cruise the halls, during lunch hour or whatever, would we find a 6'7" guy? Would we find a 6' gal over? Because again, that's the thing that it's killing them in basketball. Let's be real frank here. Size is killing. I think 6'2", 6'3" is the tallest kid on Cheyenne South. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah, so maybe 6'2", I think. But my point is, you mean to tell me there's nobody that goes to South that's – and again, not everybody that's 6'5", 6'6" are basketball players, but my point is, where are these kids? Are all the small kids going to Cheyenne South? And I don't mean that in disrespect, and I don't want that to come out the wrong way.
That could be a legitimate reasoning, though. Again, we talk about I made note of it, the epidemic, and again we've known about this. We have talked with it, whether it was Mark Puev again as the AD of Cheyenne South, now with Wendy Johnson. Again, we've talked that. We've even brought it up on the Activities Association level with Cheyenne South, where, again, we know that families in this town skirt those lines, find ways to get those athletes out of the South District. Again, we've had a next-door example of seeing how that operates here in town, that, yes, we are, again, we talk about on K-Ray Reports, again, the influx of Colorado residents here to Cheyenne, or, again, just residents in general. Again, we see the population boom that we're going through right now here in this town. You got to imagine that, again, a lot of these folks are looking into that do have children, that, again, do have athletes, are looking into those boundary lines and going, do I want to set up here in South District, or am I purposely finding an apartment or, again, a house, building one in East or Central's district? I think that also, too, is playing a factor right now where, again, you are getting that talent, that influx that should be probably going down to Cheyenne South and is instead skirting those boundary lines and now going to those other 2 high schools, which, again, is a big problem. It's a problem that has been going on ever since I have gotten here in town, since Las Vegas. That it is something that it kind of gets swept under the rug, where, again, outside of us talking about it, again, folks know about it here in this town, but nothing is being done about it. That's kind of the issue right now that is affecting Cheyenne South, is that they have the players, they got the talent that is supposed to be going to that school, but they're finding ways to, again, skirt the lines and get out of that way.
Now, you look at the football situation with Coach Moody, and Coach Moody coached at Grable, which, had good success there. Again, 1A, 2A, right?
Yeah.
All right. Again, 4A is a different breed. And I remember when Tracy Pugh came from Wheatland to South, the coach there, it was a completely different dog, and he tried to bring the same offense with him, so to speak, when he came to South, and it was a different breed of game. Just that that one class difference. The thing is, on the selection of coaches, and again, no disrespect to any of those coaches. I hope I have a decent relationship, and I know you do too, Nick, with our coaches over there. But is it time to, get somebody who's got the numbers behind him? I know Jim Shaffer had the numbers behind him when he was hired on as the basketball coach, but he also got him to the state tournament, didn't he?
Yeah.
So my point is, he delivered. He didn't have the greatest one-loss record there, but he also got him to the state tournament. Is it time that South goes out and, why not? Recruit somebody who's got the credentials to take that 4A school to the next level.
Good in theory, but again, those who have that kind of credentials is South an attractive spot to land at, especially with how things are going in the culture. Yeah.
The pay is good, and again, let me use the word. The stipend is good. Laramie County School District number 1 takes care of their coaching staffs.
And we know that compared to other states, that, again, it's one of the highest kind of within this region. So, there is that benefit, that opportunity. But, again, it's something that, again, for those big-tier coaches, is South really that attractive spot to land to if you are being recruited by them?
Look at the facilities, though. The facilities are
they're aging a bit.
They're not Thunder based, and when we went to Thunder when they first opened, hey, state of the art, right?
Yeah.
South is not bad. Central's not bad, and East definitely is not bad, especially with the Thunderdome, and you got the
new pool, yeah.
Over at Cheyenne, and then you got the field house at Central, which they put in play here a few years back. South is only, 11, 12 years old. It's still in pretty doggone good shape. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they next for the new turf?
I do believe so, yeah.
So, again, the facilities are good all around here in Cheyenne.
Again, the facilities I don't think are the issue. It's more so of, again, the culture. It's the nature right now at Cheyenne South that, again, has a negative connotation, especially in this town, where, again, especially on the athletic side, it's something that if you are one of those coaches, again, it's something that, for Scott Noble, for Mark Buev, for Wendy Johnson, of how big is that hiring pool available to you when you are looking to fill these vacancies for, again, any positions, whether it is football, whether it is basketball, whether it is softball, whether it is tennis, volleyball. Again, how big actually is the pool size for, and again, the quality of the pool size, and again, nothing against the coaches, but it's something that, what is Cheyenne South's options due to the fact that, again, if I'm a potential employee or a potential coach looking for an opportunity, I'm going to do my research and look up that football's not had a winning season in quite some time. Well, again, basketball has been up and down. That is taking steps back. Softball is going through, again, its growing pains right now. It's something that plays in a factor. Again, I don't think it's the facilities, so to speak. Yes, we have phenomenal facilities over there at Cheyenne South. It's the culture. It's the winning nature that is not there right now in specific programs.
Let me ask you this question, and again, I don't want to use the pointing the finger portion of the program. Let's take it away from the coaches. Let's take it away from the AD. What about the school in general and the admin with the school? What is their reaction to all of this? Again, what is their support value? Because to me,
is it more focused on?
There's a lot of kids that go to that school. They're the fourth biggest school in the state.
Obviously, again, those administrators over there, again, whether it's principal, vice principal, this or that, again, obviously you're more concerned with graduation, academics, education, athletics comes second. I think that's kind of the situation over at Cheyenne South. Compared to, again, in my opinion, with East and Central, it's, yes, academics are the first and foremost. Graduation, athletics is kind of 1B, though, right behind them of, hey, let's make sure that our athletes have everything equipped and, again, have successful seasons that benefit them to, again, move on to that next level to continue their athletic career, get them scholarships, and represent East or Central. I think that's kind of the difference of East and Central stress both with utmost importance, where South right now and nothing against it. Obviously, again, that's why you go to school for the most part, is, again, to get an education and get a high school diploma and move on to college some way, shape, or form. Academics is kind of the first and foremost. Athletics probably is kind of tucked away a little bit right now of, yeah, hey, cool, good for the extracurricular activity, but as long as you're getting A's and B's or C's, whatever, in your class, that's all I care about.
You know, when I got here in '86, and again, I hate to revert back and throw 40 years ago. All I heard about was Central. Central, great basketball. Central, great, in football, and all the other things that were involved with Cheyenne Central. Cheyenne East was the up and comer, and Cheyenne East had been in business about 20 plus years. But again, basketball was okay, both for the boys and girls. I know when Matt Stranigan was coaching, I remember them going to a state championship. But the football program was in shambles. And all of a sudden you went through about 5-6 coaches, and then you landed on John Sharoff. Well, Mike Bellamizzi kind of opened the door, and then John Sharoff. You played under John.
Yeah.
And then Chad Goff, and Chad's been there since. But the culture of them moving to the top of the heap, so to speak, here in Cheyenne, they were doing it in the big sports, and I'm talking the big sports.
Well,
now.
and again, also too, on top of, again, getting coach, or at least a good coach in place, which again, yes, with Coach Roth, obviously, again, leading a couple state championship opportunities for Cheyenne East. So again, my time there, again, Coach Goff eventually winning one for Cheyenne East, would have taken down Evanston there in 2008. But again, on top of coaches, though, it also to give credit to, again, my graduating class, or again, the seniors that are above me, the juniors that were below me, again, those classmen that are above or below, we had talent part of that team. But again, I think that's also too something you got to play in a factor of that. You got to get athletes that are willing to commit, and plain and simple, you got to get size, you got to get height, you got to get talent there, and that's a contributing factor of why East has kind of dug themselves out, or at least is now competitive, if not have taken over, especially here in the 2000s, of East's kind of relevancy in championship picture. And again, that encompasses all sports, that East has kind of built that winning nature,
but
and again has had that benefit of garnering in some good talent.
But look at the support staff as well, too. And again, Central's had good support staff. Chad Whitworth, athletic director, who has, go look at the walls there. Chad Whitworth had a great career at Cheyenne Central. You look over at Cheyenne East after Mike Bellamizzi turned it over to John Sharoff, and then John Sharoff, they ended up getting Jerry Schlaps. Jerry had great success with the Cheyenne East girls basketball program. Principal Sam Marich. Sam was a head coach over at Southeast. He's got a state title that he won with the Southeast Goshen Cyclones in basketball. So again, the athletic support, okay, from the top all the way to the student population. Same thing too at Cheyenne Central. And I use Chad, and again, I remember Matt Stranigan being a vice principal there. But they've had people there that have been right within that student population. Am I seeing it at South? I see Wendy Johnson. She's the new kid on the block. I see coaches that are there that are pretty decent guys and ladies. But am I seeing that support from the student population from the top all the way down? That I'm not sure of right now. Now, we saw good crowds.
Again, I don't think you're addressing what is the true problem. And again, this is the third time.
Well, help me out on this.
I'm just saying this is the third time I will speak upon it again here in this half hour. Again, we're at the top of the hour as well, too. We'll need to take a break. But, again, the true issue, the true problem, it's not coaches, it's not AD, it is not support systems, it's not facilities, it's not this or that. It's more so, again, in my opinion, of what is plaguing Cheyenne South right now is parents, is players, and it's more so the parents, and it's the school districts that are allowing this as well, too, of, again, families. It's a crossover here. It's redefining those school boundary lines to, again, move without of that district, realizing that you are stuck in that district. And, again, we've seen it. We've known it. It is not a great grand conspiracy. No, we know it's proven fact. It is something that ADs have addressed. It is something that Margaret Crespo has addressed with us. It is something that, again, on the athletic side, the plague is that parents, and again, fair on them. Do what you need to do to, again, make sure that your student, your athlete, is having the best opportunity. I have no issue with it. But that is the problem, in my opinion, is that you are seeing parents, players, find loopholes, find ways to, again, move out of that district line, or at least out of that school line, go to East or Central, and kind of continue as that. Again, we saw it a couple years ago on the basketball side, where, again, we had a South player eventually moving into Cheyenne Central the next game. It was the next day. Changes jerseys immediately. Yep. How is that fair? That is the issue right now for Cheyenne South. I think that is the main problem. It is not coaches, not ADs, not facilities, not this or that. It is parents who are taking these potential talent that could go to South, taking them out of that situation and moving them to where they think is the better opportunity, the better chance to win, the better to move on that athletic career is with right now, again, and it's fair to say, is with East or Central. And it does South a grand disservice.
All right, we need to take a break. This is the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. We still have a lot of basketball to talk about on the local side. We'll be back after these words right here in 1480 K-Ray.
Sweetie, want some fruit?
You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
Capital Lumber is lumber one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is lumber one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber at your service all the way.
Since 1966, Cheyenne and Laramie County has depended on and trusted family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company for all your lumber and hardware needs at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
For almost 60 years, 1480 K-Ray has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY-FM, and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both K-Ray and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures, makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proietti at 307-637-0301.
MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call the Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Weather-wise for today, winter storm warning is in effect for tonight through tomorrow night. Partly sunny and windy for today. Expect a daytime high near 50. Westerly winds at 25 to 30, gusting as high as 45. For tonight, cloudy with a chance of rain and snow mixed this evening. Then all snow after 9 p.m. The snow could be heavy at times. Our low down to 3 degrees with blustery conditions. New snow accumulation of 3 to 7 inches possible. For tomorrow, Wednesday, snow continuing. Our high will be only 2 degrees below zero during the afternoon. With blustery conditions, new snow accumulation of 2 to 4 inches possible.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. And good afternoon. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He is Nick Proietti across the way. And great discussion in the first hour. First, I want to thank Jim Shaffer, Central Boys coach, for joining us. And again, our discussion, especially on the situation at Southline, again, we can't wave a magic wand. Others have tried before us. Just don't know how we're going to address that situation. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long down the road. Let's move on.
Well, let's move again where we gave scores on 4A boys. Again, we'll talk 2A boys, and then we'll get into 4A girls, 2A girls as well too. But boys scores again for 2A again regarding Pine and Burns. Tuesday's action: Pine Bluffs taking on Lusk. Pine Bluffs getting the 40-point victory, 74-34. That was Tuesday's action this past week. Looking at Friday's games: Burns taking on Lingle Fort Laramie on the boys' side. Burns get the 2-point win over Lingle Fort Laramie, 59-57. Pine Bluffs also winning on Friday over Lusk, 76-41. Saturday's action, again, Burns was set to play this past Saturday, but again, game got canceled due to, again, road conditions. So it's obviously not going to be made up as Burns, again, shifts their focus on.
They made off that one game against Lusk that they lost.
But Saturday's action, Pine Bluffs did get in action against Lingle Fort Laramie. Pine Bluffs winning that game 61-55. So as it stands, or at least looking at the standings very quickly on the boys' side in Class 2A, how it wraps up, because again, it is the end of the regular season for them. They shift focus on the East Regional Tournament. On the Southeast side, again, boys action Class 2A. Pine Bluffs wraps up the season 21-2 overall, 6-0 in conference. Lingle Fort Laramie behind them at 14-8, 3-3. Burns 7-15, 2-4. Lusk behind them at 6-15, 1-5. So on the East Regional, on the boys side, and we'll talk with Tyler Kimsey, head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets, coming up tomorrow here on the Pro Show. Looking forward to our conversation as he gets ready for Thursday's action up there at Sundance, as he will take on the host school, Sundance, as they were the 4 seed out of the Northeast Quadrant. That game at 8:30 coming up again this Thursday. So Pine, number 1 seed out of the Southeast, taking on the home team of Sundance. Little concern, a little concern, just doing with the nature of it being home court advantage for Sundance, but Pine should take care of business pretty handily. Looking at the other matchup again regarding Burns, they are the 3 seed out of the Southeast. They will play over at Moorcroft High School. They will take on number 2 seed out of the North, Tongue River. That also too will be at 8:30 coming up this Thursday.
Eagles are a little bit more talented than the Bronx. Pine Bluffs, in my opinion, on the guys' side, the way they have been just beating up the South, they're going to continue that run. I see right here against Sundance, they're going to boat race Sundance, even though it's on their home court. I'm telling you,
a little concerned.
No, not concerned at all. If they match it with Tongue River, not so much a boat race. It's going to be a competitive game. I just see Pine Bluffs heading to the championship round. They are that good. Matter of fact, I was thinking about this this morning, getting ready for work. I would not be afraid, if I'm Tyler Kimsey, I would not be afraid to put Pine Bluffs up against anybody in Class 4A right now. They're that good. They've got a little bit of height with
I don't think they would go 21-2 against 4A teams.
But again, you got Jensen at 6'4", you got Lorick at 6'3", but Ryan Fornstrom. I mean, again, as we talked about Sammy Shumway, Ryan Fornstrom at 6 foot. He lists himself at 6 foot. Shaffer's also at 6 foot. These guys, and I'm forgetting the other kid's name, but my point is, these kids are good. They're good basketball players.
Could a Pine,
good athletes.
And I hate to do this, but again, we'll entertain, as you were talking about. Again, could they compete in Class 4A? Again, could they have a battle with South? Yeah. Could they have a battle with Natrona County up in the Northeast in Class 4A? Yeah. Could they compete with some of those 4A West teams? Yeah, I think so. But outside of that, though, again, they're not on the same level as Central. They're not on the same level of Thunder, East, Sheridan. They got height, and I think that's the key contributor for, again, Pine Bluffs coming up here in the East Regional Tournament, is that they got the height, they got the size, they got the speed. They should cruise. Again, this is my opinion with the Hornets on the boys' side. Expect them, and it's almost kind of 95% kind of guarantee, or at least at least belief in my system, that Pine Bluffs should be in that state title game. Should probably come back as or at least should repeat as Class 2A state champions. They are defending 2A state champs.
And we know Bighorn's pretty decent up in the north, and Tongue River's not too bad.
Yeah, but Pine handled their own against Bighorn.
I know, but I'm just saying those are your two top dogs that you need to worry about out of the North.
And again, the benefit here of the East Regional Tournament, it is double elimination. And again, this kind of plays factor for Burns. Again, 8 teams are vying for 4 spots to enter in as again a part of that state tournament. Again, it's double elimination. So again, for Burns, if you are taking on Tongue River in that first round, or again the Eagles should win that contest, your postseason chances are not over. Again, it just depends on who the hell you face off against, whether, is it going to be Wright? Is it going to be Niobrara County? Again, Lusk. Who knows what the situation will be on that kind of bottom end of the bracket. But, again, it's not in this first round do or die, especially for the likes of the Burns Bronx. But for Pine, again, they are the heavy favorites. Expect them to be competing for that, again, East Regional Championship, whether it is against Bighorn or whoever on that other side of the bracket. But Pine, you feel confident, should go all the way. Should make it to the state championship contest. For Burns, picked up some solid wins this past week. And I think, again, momentum and confidence is a key factor. They picked up some big victories this past week. Put them in a better spot than being in that 4 seed to take on Bighorn. Again, they do take on Tongue River. Pine guarantee on the boys. Burns right now, I give them a little bit more respect. But you look at, again, who's competing. You got to figure Bighorn's going to be that at least one of 2 teams. You got Bighorn, you got Pine. She'll make it to the state tournament. Lingo Fort Laramie, they're beatable. Can Wright take them down? Again, Wright only with a small road trip to get over to this East Regional Tournament for them compared to Lingo Fort Laramie. But could Wright upset them? Yeah. Burns has proven that they could beat them. Tongue River, again, 2 seed, but they're beatable as well too. Pine shown that when they were cross quadrant battling with them. I think Burns has a shot. And the boys' side, the Burns Bronx, can they be the 4 seed into that state tournament? I could see it. It's going to take a lot, but I can see them pulling off the upset, especially where, again, some of those 2 seeds are vulnerable, including Lingo Fort Laramie, without a doubt.
Yeah, It depends which Burns team shows up, Nick. We've seen twice now Burns against Pine Bluffs. And at home, they were absolutely awful. At Pine, even though they got beat, they were a little more competitive. But again, and I'm sorry to say this.
And that probably,
I'm beat a dead horse. Size kills them.
Yeah, Burns is the same on Cheyenne South, where, again, they are at a extreme size disadvantage and height-wise as well, too, when they match up to Pine. That is no doubt about it. But, again, they've proven that they can beat Lingo Fort Laramie. They can beat Lusk. Again, who knows with Wright? Who knows, again, this first match with Tongue River. But Burns, I boost them a little bit more confidence. Again, I think you said it without actually saying it, that Burns has improved since the last time, or at least the first time we saw this team at Burns hosting Pine. This team has improved. Give him the body of work that we saw, especially this past week, that Burns, right, a little bit of momentum, a little confidence. That's where I tossed them aside saying, no, they're not making it to that state tournament. I now give credit to Coach Suloff and his team saying, all right, you might have a winner here. You have a team that could make it to the state tournament. Is it a team that's vying for a state championship? No. No, not when you are facing against Pine Bluffs, who is the odds-on favorite, in my opinion. But Burns, can they make it to the state tournament? I think so. I really think so. Again, if they do, it's going to be a 3 or 4 seed, or at least I think ideally it's going to be a 4 seed.
Yeah.
But again, it gives you a shot. It continues your basketball season. And I think that's for Coach Suloff, who, again, his team has been written off, especially in the Southeast Quadrant, where, again, Lingo Fort Laramie and Pine is definitely taken over the spotlight. Burns now kind of shows as a competitor of taking and stealing one of those spots away. And it won't be from Pine, but if they do, it'll be from Lingo Fort Laramie.
And again, this is all going to be on the shoulders of Kota Piasecki. He's got to handle the basketball better. We saw Jared Allen play really well.
I think a lot of it weighs on his shoulders. Again, we saw him really pick up his game at Pine against the Hornets. Not to put all the pressure on him, but again, Jared Allen definitely is. He's the motor that runs that engine right now. For
Cooper
Burns.
Lakin, they got to keep him on the floor. That's another one. And Hape, Cody Hape at 6'3", he's got to be He's got to be active in the middle.
He's got to act as if he's
But
6'3",
Lakin seems to be all over the floor, and he gets into foul difficulty. But again, once you got Lakin sitting down, that's your second biggest guy.
Yeah.
And then you got some younger guys that come off the bench that are 6'3", similar to Hape, but they're inexperienced. I mean, they've been getting a lot of minutes, but they just don't have that starting five mentality like the five that are out there for Coach Suloff. Does this team drop their first round to Tongue River? Yeah. I
think so,
I'm going to throw it out there. Do they win that next game? Don't know.
I think they can. And would it shock me if Burns pulls off the quote-unquote
Can they beat
first round?
Sundance? Yeah.
But I'm just saying, can Burns take down a Tongue River in that first round?
No.
It wouldn't shock me if it did.
No.
I would say that. I would say it would not shock me if Burns pulled off that upset. Again, it's neutral site up there. I can see it happening. Do I believe it will for Burns? No. Burns, for their route to get into that state tournament, is going to be through the losers bracket. And again, I think this team will be your 4 seed out of the East Regional in that state tournament. I believe that Burns can do it. It's going to take a a tougher path to get to that point. But can they do it again? I go back to this past weekend. I'll say even past weekends for Burns. They've shown a lot for me that they are growing and improving. And if things go their way, if they can keep those bodies out on the court, avoid foul difficulty, that Burns has a shot. I think Burns has a shot.
In these type of tournaments, the ones usually are going to move on.
In these type of tournaments, you see shocks left and right.
I understand.
Look at 4A.
All right, but Bighorn and Pine, I don't see any shocks. Okay.
No, if either of those teams, if either of those lose in the first round, you figure the Earth was in it.
Your 2 or 3, is going to one of those twos are going to make it. Usually a 3 sneaks in there.
I think Burns has a better shot.
Burns is that 3 that has a shot of getting in there.
But then again, Linglefort Laramie is limping in a bit, and Wright, not knowing much about the Panthers, but
Pine Bluffs pounded him.
But again, Linglefort Laramie is struggling as well too. I kind of retract and I say Wright has probably the better opportunity to upset a 2 seed compared to Burns. I would say Burns does have a legitimate shot. I don't see it happening, but again, it would not shock me if the Bronx do win against Tongue River. It wouldn't shock me. Plain and simple.
No, I don't see it. I've been following both the North and the South. And
if the matchups coming up,
the 2 seeds there, Bighorn and Tongue River, they're the deal.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, Friday's matchup, would it surprise me if it's Bighorn versus Wright and Pine Bluffs versus Burns? That wouldn't shock me. I can see that as a legitimate possibility. Again, Burns, though, like I said, I give him respect. I give him opportunity. I wrote him off a couple weeks ago saying, no, this team is not moving on. Again, Linglefort Laramie was going to take that other spot away from them in that East Regional tournament. Now I kind of shift them back and put Burns in that forefront of going, all right, you got a shot to make it to the state tournament. You need things to go your way, which I think they can. And we'll see how things – if they lose against Tongue River, does it mean season is over for the Bronx? No.
No, they have one more shot.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. I will tell you at 2:30 on Saturday the 25th, it will be Bighorn and Pine for the
it shouldn't be anything less, yeah.
Number 1, 2 seeds. Will Burns sneak in? Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't the losers play? So Sundance and Burns, if they both lost that first game, don't they match up in that loser out contest? I think that's what it would be. They would.
I do believe, or again, I'm not sure if you pull a loser from the other side of the bracket to face against.
I always thought it was anyway. My point.
I think they cross bracket again, where it's whoever both losers again. You play from one side of the bracket to the other. So again, I'd have to look at it very quickly, but either way, though, again, Burns would take on again whoever. Again, I don't think it's guaranteed to be Sunday.
I think their next round opponent probably will be a lot. Will they get blasted by Tongue River? Probably not.
No.
I think they're playing
That's
a much
where I'd
better
be
brand of basketball. Right now, Pine Bluffs is soaring. They are playing unbelievable basketball. They have boat raced their Southern Conference.
Could Pine win about 20 to 30 over Sundance, even with Sundance being the host site?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just bring up the slight concern that, again, could the game be a little bit closer with Sundance hosting it at Sundance? Yes, a little bit. But do I think Pine will lose the Sundance? No. It's just, again, how much do they defeat them by is kind of more the interesting storyline of that opening round matchup. But like I said, Pine, we know who they are. Yeah. Well, they're going to be the 1 seed or 2 seed. That's kind of just up to them and that matchup with Bighorn. But again, the concern right now, or at least the intriguing part, especially for us here in Laramie County, is Burns on the boys' side. Can they make it to the state tournament? I give them a fighter's chance. I think they can.
Yeah, I will agree with you. And again, it depends on how they are bracketed. Even if you go cross-bracketing, Nick, and let's just throw it out there. Niobrara County loses to Bighorn, okay? We'll throw that out.
I think they will. Lusk is struggling this year.
And let's just say Wright upsets Lingle Fort Laramie. Does that put Burns in with Lingle Fort Laramie in that loser-out contest?
If you're Burns, you want that matchup.
Yeah, you definitely you just beat him here recently.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think Burns has that shot in that second round, but in the first round, they're not moving into the winners bracket. I can guarantee you that.
We'll see.
Okay.
Again, it wouldn't shock me if they defeat Tongue River. If they lose, it wouldn't shock me either. But again, is this a 3 or a 4 seed representing the East region coming up in the state tournament? Yes.
I think so. I say 2 1s, a 2, and a 3 will be moving on to the state championship. Out of this conference, out of the East Conference.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see.
We are going to take a break. And when we come back and get a chance to talk girls basketball, we didn't get really into girls 4A. We'll get a little bit of that, and then we'll talk about the girls 2A. Again, some movement in the standings in Class 2A, and we'll set that picture up for you. We'll be back after these words. You're listening to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti right here on 1480 KRA.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
17 years, and we're still striving to offer you the best value in a new vehicle. I'm AJ Miller here at Kia of Cheyenne. Come by and see the new 2023 Kia Sportage. 3 models and 7 trims available with powerful engine options, premium interiors, and on-demand tech features. Kia gives you more with an industry-leading warranty and roadside assistance from over 17,000 providers. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to KiaofCheyenne.com and we'll make it easy.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hi, it's Lee at Absolute Flooring. It's time to put 2022 behind us and get 2023 off to a great start. The best way to do that is with new flooring from Absolute Flooring. With a large variety of flooring products and a multitude of styles, colors, and prices, your new floor awaits you. And with the best in installers, get your new year started off right with a stop at Absolute Flooring in the Cheyenne Plaza and at AbsoluteFlooringWIO.com. Remember, it's always your home, your floor, your store, absolutely.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one-stop to shop for these Super Radio buys heard only right here. Tito's Handmade Vodka, 1.75-liter bottle, $33.99. Bud or Bud Light, 24-pack, 12-ounce bottles or cans, $21.99. And Olmeca Altos Plata or Reposado Tequila, 750-milliliter bottle, $25.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader. Winter driving in Wyoming. Are you prepared? Winter storms strike quickly across Wyoming's high plains and the mountains. When they do, driving conditions can deteriorate rapidly and become very challenging. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the elements and you have an emergency preparedness kit available. Driving on slick roads, always remember slower speed, acceleration, steering, and braking. Also turn off the cruise control and always buckle up.
ice and snow. Take it slow. Know before you go. For travel info, call 511 or online at wildroad.info. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds.
1480 K-Ray is your home for live play-by-play coverage of high school basketball and football. To hear all the play-by-play calls of East, Central, and South football and basketball. You'll hear the conference action along with the postseason, and during the basketball season, 1480 K-Ray features both boys and girls games. Catch all the exciting calls on AM 1480 K-Ray, also streaming the games worldwide on the web at 1480kray.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Weather-wise for today, winter storm warning is in effect for tonight through tomorrow night. Partly sunny and windy for today. Expect a daytime high near 50. Westerly winds at 25 to 30, gusting as high as 45. For tonight, cloudy with a chance of rain and snow mixed this evening. Then all snow after 9 p.m. The snow could be heavy at times. Our low down to 3 degrees with blustery conditions. New snow accumulation of 3 to 7 inches possible. For tomorrow, Wednesday, snow continuing. Our high will be only 2 degrees below zero during the afternoon. With blustery conditions, new snow accumulation of 2 to 4 inches possible. We welcome you back to the Pro Show. Larry Proietti along with Nick Proietti. Nick, one of the things that was very key this weekend, we talk Class 4A girls right now, and we will take a look ahead towards the upcoming playoffs.
Well, I can get into scores if we want.
Well, okay, go ahead and do the scores. And then
recap scores of Class 4A. Again, girls action for East, Central, and South. We'll start on Wednesday's action with Cheyenne East taking on Cheyenne South, the game we had here live on 1480 K-Ray. Cheyenne East winning that contest 69 to 34. We move over to Thursday's action. East taking on Laramie. This was a key game for both the Lady Thunderbirds and Lady Plainsmen. Lady Plainsmen to kind of give me a little bit more respect for them, or at least kind of put them on my radar, needed that win against Cheyenne East. Well, Lady Thunderbirds get it done 43 to 34. Again, that game over in Laramie as well, too. Central Lady Indians on Friday taking on that same Laramie team. Lady Indians at home taking on Laramie. Got the victory 74-69, so Central avenging the road loss against Laramie. Saturday's action, Central taking on Cheyenne South. Lady Indians defeating Cheyenne South 78 to 57, so that's how it rounds up. Key victories for both East and Central against Laramie.
Now, you listen to those numbers you gave on Central. 74 at the Fieldhouse against Laramie, 78.
Allowed 69 points, though.
Yeah, then 78 against Cheyenne South. That's
57 against Cheyenne South, yeah.
78.
Well, they scored 78, but I'm saying they allowed 57 against them.
But what I'm saying, though, with Cheyenne Central, offensively, this team right now where they're positioned, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they're going to should be the 2 seed. Again, do I hand them a loss to Cheyenne East? More than likely, but I think they hold the tiebreaker.
No, Laramie would have the tiebreaker.
Would they have the
with
tiebreaker?
the overall? Yeah. So again, that's kind of
because
again they split the series. So again, 1-1. So again, it would go to overall. So right now it'd be Laramie in favor again as they sit 15-6. Cheyenne Central with the overall at 12-7. So that's kind of the key factor. Yeah, for Friday's contest, where again we kind of toss boys game. Kind of a wash, either or. It doesn't really matter. Again, regarding their at least standings, they are guaranteed to be 1-2 going into the East Regional Tournament for this contest. So Chinese girls are defined as a 1 seed. Central got to win, got to defeat East Lady Thunderbirds, and then you got to hope and pray that Cheyenne South can pull off an unbelievable upset against the Laramie Lady.
And here's the deal too: where Central is at, if the playoffs were held today, they would draw Sheridan in the first round. I like that round. They would get revenge on Sheridan. Trust me. They would beat the Lady Bronx, and then they would match up with Campbell County. I think they match up well with Campbell County. But for Cheyenne Central, the most important thing is offense, and they went through those injuries again. They've had their battles with injury and sickness.
They've had their up and downs, yeah.
Yeah, but against both Laramie and South, we saw good baskets by Temple. We see Izzy Kelly. You're looking at Madison Bagley right now. She's stepping up as that senior. They're getting good transition buckets. Yeah, albeit South on Saturday, what we saw. But the thing for Cheyenne Central is that they got a good offense when everybody's healthy and everybody's out there. Taylor Wade coming off the bench. She gives you really good minutes, good boards. The thing is, they've got size. They're not huge like Cheyenne East. But again, Temple, we talk about Jade Brown and Cashlyn Hawes and Peyton Hall as that up-and-coming superstars for Cheyenne East. Temple, I'm going to be looking forward to watching her over the next couple seasons. Izzy Kelly, most definitely. Taylor Wade, these are three kids, too, that are going to make names on the girls' side. They are pretty doggone good. So the thing is with Cheyenne Central, they've got the offense going. Defensively, they are pretty good underneath the bucket. Well, those missed shots, they very rarely will cough up those
free throws
bad
are a
rebounds.
big issue. Free throws are
Exactly.
a big concern right now. Again, talked about that in Saturday's contest that, again, you can't afford that in a close contest, whether it is upcoming this Friday night against Cheyenne East or, again, as you prepare for the East Regional Tournament. Free throws have got to improve, which, again, they have not since, again, we first saw them back in December down in Greeley. It has been an ongoing issue, and it could be what spells disaster for this Lady Indians team. This past week, though, again, for Cheyenne Central, this was that opportunity to get healthy, move up and down the standings where, again, East took care of business for you, again, beating Laramie. You took care of business yourself, defeating Laramie. And, again, you got healthy against Cheyenne South. Now puts you in a prime position. Again, plain and simple for Cheyenne Central, you can't assume South is going to pull off the upset against Laramie. Again, with that game, I do believe that game will be here in town. Cheyenne South will host that. But, again, you can't assume that. You got to win against Cheyenne East. Cheyenne East, who has defined themselves as the number one seed, could they, like their counterparts with Rusty Horsley, could they rest some folks, look to the youth on the bench? Yeah, without a doubt. But the issue for at least for Cheyenne Central is when Coach Wesley looks to that bench, even though, again, had struggles, or I wouldn't even say struggles, but, again, had kind of inconsistencies playing against Cheyenne South on Wednesday night, but still won pretty heavily. Again, that bench play, though, those JVers, those underclassmen for Cheyenne East, still pretty damn talented, still can face off against some of the good varsity teams here in the state. So that's kind of the concern right now for Coach Kirkbride is, again, if they call off those main five dogs, that bench play still it might be a little bit below of that starting five, but, again, still pretty damn talented for Cheyenne East. So Central, plain and simple, this Friday on the ladies' side, got to win if you want to solidify as your 2 seed. That's how you're going to have to do it.
The bad thing about this, as you said, Nick, it's East Central. So that's a motivating factor right out of the box, okay?
Does East want to carry momentum? Again, Coach Wesley, does he want to win this contest?
Absolutely,
even if they are defined as that 1 seed? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, if anything, what helps Coach Kirkbride and what helps Coach Wesley, imagine if East was still unbeaten at this point, going after, again, trying to continue more records. You would think that he would have put the full 5 out there for the full 32 minutes.
But the game matters more to Central than it does Cheyenne East. If that makes sense.
In terms, again, obviously East wants to win it for the crosstown bragging rights, again, get the sweep over Cheyenne Central. But, again, the main focus of postseason play, East has nothing to play for here in this game. Central has everything to lose just due to the fact that, again, you got to assume that Laramie's going to pull off the victory even on the road against Cheyenne South.
And again, talking with Coach Kirkbride on our pregame show, and you could see that smile come on his face when I asked him, how are you health-wise? And he says, this is the healthiest we've been all season. So I feel pretty good with Central going into this matchup with East. Does East win? Sorry, Coach. I'm going to have to go with the Lady Thunderbirds in this one.
I think it's close.
I think, I think they will win probably maybe 10 or more.
No.
I don't think it's going to be a
again,
6 or 8 point game.
If things go in the way that I believe, again, where I think Coach Wesley will, I think in that third quarter will be the key factor, again, how close it will be or what the situation is. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Wesley, again, just calls off that starting 5 for a good, solid couple minutes in that third or fourth quarter and says, here we go.
You're going to bring out Hawes, you're going to bring out Brown, you're going to bring out Hall. All 3 of those kids have proven their word.
Yeah, I get that. And that's, again, for Coach, or at least for Coach Kirkbride, that's kind of the concerning thing is that even if they call out the 5, you're still dealing with, again, some solid talent, again, for the underclassmen for Cheyenne East. So.
And you're still going to keep, like, DeLong out there, or you're still going to keep Schlabs or Lilliadall. You're still going to keep one of those 3 out there because, again, they've got to run the offense, okay? They don't really have a point that can take over. You know, the younger sister of Fonseca, when she comes, Quay Fonseca, she's not going to run the point.
Yeah, had some issues getting handling the basketball.
So what I'm saying, he's going to keep one of those, and he'll alternate probably all three of them. He's going to have to have a ball handler out there, and then you got the three big kids out there. So again, they've got a lot of varsity experience as freshmen. Like I said, I Central has a lot to play for. It's going to be a lot closer than game one. They're healthy, and maybe they could shock East. Don't know. Don't think so. I think East is probably 10+ better.
I think East wins, and that's going to be the unfortunate thing for the Lady Indians. That again, with Laramie losing, or at least Laramie winning, I should say, we'll take over that second spot. Central drops down to the 3 seed upcoming in the East Regional Tournament. So that's kind of the big thing about losing to Cheyenne East this Friday night. If Central is to at Story Gym, which again, there's a possibility that they could, but we shall see how things go in that contest. Very quickly on the standings in Class 4A Southeast here for the girls' side. Again, Cheyenne East, number 1 seed right now, 17-2, 5-0 in conference play. Central 12-7, 3-2. Laramie 15-6. They are 2-3 with adding 2 losses this week to losing to both East and Central. And Cheyenne South sits at 119, 0-5. Did it a part of the boys, again, looking at the girls right now as we look forward to, again, obviously East Central girls have a lot on the line, again, for the Lady Indians. But now we kind of shift our focus to that regional tournament on the girls' side. If Central is to lose, which, again, they could, that drops them down to the 3 seed. Laramie moves up to the 2. Making that bold prediction of, again, who will be the 4 teams out of the 8 to move on to the state tournament here out of the East Conference. East, guarantee. Outside of that, though, again, South is one team you write off. You write off right now. Again, there's 7 potential teams. I still put Cheyenne Central into that fringe where, again, they got healthy this week, but I don't know how they'll fare, especially in that early round, those early rounds against some of those Northeast Quadrant teams where, again, don't overlook Campbell County, Thunder Basin, Sheridan, or Natrona.
But let me say this. Again, you still have Campbell County and Thunder Basin to play. That could be a switch in the standings. So let's just
but pick your poison on that one. Again, both the
I think Central matches up very well with Campbell County.
But Campbell County, again, Lady Campbell's got really healthy.
They got the outside.
They gave Cheyenne East a run for their money.
But they've been struggling as of late, and that's just it. Thunder Basin is the team that's caught fire. And again they got that win against
the
East.
overall record, and again, the quadrant play up there in the Northeast does not reflect of how talented those teams are, where, again, I give them a lot of respect. Again, the 4 teams that making a bold prediction right now, as we're still 2 weeks away from that East Regional. East, you got to imagine they're one of the teams representing. I still think Laramie can get it done. Who knows what the hell happened these past couple of contests, against East and Cheyenne Central, but Laramie Lady Plainsmen, can they string together a few victories to kind of solidify themselves as a 3 or a 4 seed coming out of the East Regional? Possibly. That's 2 teams right there. Out of that Northeast, I can see Natrona, even as they sit right now 9-12, again 0-5.
No.
Again, they're hosting this thing. Let's give home court advantage is so huge in the postseason.
They open up with Cheyenne East. No.
They gave East a run for their money up there. Yeah. So, again, the other 2 teams, this is tough, though. Again,
wait a minute. Let's slow down there real quick. Because, again, let's go back to that road trip, Nick. You're playing in Sheridan the night before. It's winter road conditions. You don't get into Casper until 1 a.m. You turn around and have a 1 o'clock game against Natrona. No. You know what? It's going to be a much different outcome for the Lady Thunderbirds. I guarantee.
They're going to have the home court advantage. They're going to have the fan base out there in full bore.
You go ahead and have the fan base. You had it there before.
But I'm just saying, it's been there before, and again, upsets have happened on those courts. Again, we've seen upsets before in these tournaments. Go back to when Thunder hosted it. Okay. Thunder Basin pulled off the unbelievable upset against Cheyenne Central.
If you want your upset team, it's Cheyenne Central, because they are the healthiest they've been since early
But they got
December.
issues. They got issues. The free throws concern me. They have, again, turnover concerns right now for the Lady Indians. Again, East Laramie, I put as, yes, should make it to the state tournament. I put Campbell County.
I
think the Lady
they're good.
I think the Lady Camels can. And right now, my mind is debating between Lady Bolts or the Lady Indians of who is the better team. And sorry, right now, even though again Coach Kirkbride got this team healthy, I'd say Thunder Basin.
All right, but
here's
here's
that other spot of the 4 teams as of right now, as things are, as we're rounding out the regular season. East, Laramie, Thunder, Campbell. I think that's how it sizes up on the girls' side of who right now stands out to me of the 4 teams to go to the state.
All right, but let's go with my theory. Thunder beats Campbell, and they win the conference. Okay, Thunder
They
draws,
take South.
They have South. Campbell County has the Lady Indians. I think they match up well. Okay,
That's a close game, and I give the advantage to the Lady Camels on that one.
All right, and it was close at the field house. So then I think it was 2 points. Then you go to,
and again, make note that it's a neutral site, so both teams have to travel
Okay.
equal distance. To
All
get
right,
there.
so then you're looking at Laramie taking on Sheridan. You know,
Sheridan's talented, but I think Laramie's a hair better.
And then East has Natrona County. Then you move over to the next day. So again, you sit there and you look at. I think your team that again, where I say your 3 seed. I think your 3 seed with the upset is going to be Cheyenne Central.
I think Northeast takes advantage of Oregon South, who will lose. Again, that's the unfortunate thing. Again, nothing against Coach Epler, but again, will lose that opening round. Again, whether it is Thunder or whether it is Campbell County. Northeast loser, and again, I think that's how the bracket goes, is again, on the loser bracket side, again, it's Southeast, Northeast to pair up again, where you have that cross battle. Again, that's where you get the benefit of, again, a Sheridan or whoever to lose in that first round, takes advantage of a Cheyenne South team, advances them further closer to at least that opportunity to represent in the state tournament. Again, Cheyenne Central, though, with the Lady Indians, I want to give them a lot of respect, but again, there's a lot of concerns right now. Free throws are one. Turnovers are another big one that this team can score. Has solid defense, I should say. But in these games that come down to the wire, come down to the clutch, where again it's a 1 or 2 point lead, I think free throws are going to be that Achilles heel right now for Cheyenne Central. You got away with it against Cheyenne South this past Saturday, but you can't afford it against Cheyenne East. You can't afford it against outside of Cheyenne South. You can't afford it against any other of those teams, whether Northeast or Southeast. That's why, again, I want to give Cheyenne Central that respect. And I think that they'll move far in this East Regional Tournament. But I find them running into, again, a contest where they have to take on a Thunder or a Sheridan. I'll even toss in Natrona, where, again, it's going to be a close battle. And those free throws, if they can't get this thing figured out, is going to cost them a ball game.
Well, and here's the deal. And we've thrown her name out quite a bit, Mia Garrick and Madison Bailey. The 2 seniors they've got to step up. They got to realize, hey, there is no tomorrow. Again, Carson Temple, I have been very, very impressed with her. She gets better with each and every game. Again, you got Izzy Kelly out there now. She's healthy. So, again, and Morgan Kirkbride, she's probably the key to the whole deal. Morgan at about 5'8", 5'9". She's got to be not just one getting rebounds and handling the basketball. She's got to put the biscuit in the basket.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that she has been lacking is scoring. If they can get 8 to 10 points out of her, Central wins.
We'll see. Again, those games coming up this Friday very quickly. Again, East versus Central. Again, end of the regular season for both of those teams this Friday night at Story Gym. We'll have those games here live, 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRay.com on the audio side. Video live streaming as we do on the 1480KRay YouTube channel. Go over there, give us a subscribe, like on the videos. We appreciate that. Again, 6 and 7:30 are the tentative start times. Again, we've seen where those games have been pushed back about an hour due to the JV game. So, again, tentative 6 and 7:30. Girls up first. Boys will round out that contest again on Friday.
Do we need one more break here?
We don't need a break again. At least we'll take this all the way to the top of the hour. We'll continue on girls action. We'll move down to Class 2A as their regular season has come to an end. We'll look at, again, scores from this past week. We'll start on Tuesday. Pine Bluffs taking on Lusk. Pine Bluffs Lady Hornets getting the victory 43-26. We move over to Thursday's action, or at least, Friday's action. It was Lingle Fort Laramie defeating Burns 43-19. Pine Bluffs defeating Lusk once again. Pine Bluffs winning over at least that team 44-28. Lingle Fort Laramie defeating Pine Bluffs. This was Saturday's action. Lingle Fort Laramie beating the Lady Hornets 51-34. Again, Burns and Lusk did not play. Again, that was canceled, similar to the boys, due to road conditions. Again, will not be made up. So how it stands right now in the standings, or at least how things wrapped up on the girls' side, Class 2A in the regular season. Lingle Fort Laramie, your number 1 seed, heading in, representing the Southeast Quadrant, 15-7 overall, 4-2 in quadrant. How about this for the Pine Bluffs Lady Hornets? And we'll talk about them. 10-13 overall, 4-2 in quadrant play. Burns 9-13, 3-3. Lusk rounds out the bottom at 7-13, 1-5. Lady Hornets, as we talk, will be the number 2 seed out of the Southeast Quadrant. Burns will be the 3 seed out of the Southeast. Pine has a date coming up again this Thursday, 4 o'clock at Moorcroft. Pine Bluffs will take on Wright. Burns will take on Tongue River. So how beautiful is that? That, again, both Burns teams have to take on Tongue River in those matchups. That'll be also to Thursday's action at Moorcroft, 5:30, just after, again, the Pine Bluffs matchup. But give credit to the Lady Hornets. Go back to, again, them hosting Burns, pulling off that victory against the Lady Bronx at home. That was the key factor of where now Pine is all of a sudden in a 2-seed spot. And right now for the Lady Hornets, you give them a punch of shot, or at least where the first matchup we saw them at Burns, I say, all right, Pine's a young team. Maybe next year they'll make it to the state tournament. What we've seen now over the recent quadrant play and how they did, especially that win at home against Burns, I now put Pine as one of those teams of give them respect. They should be in the state tournament along with their guy counterpart.
The nice thing about the Lady Hornets and Lindsey Forbes' squad, they turned it around. Their season turned around after that Burns loss.
Yeah,
they went on a nice little streak. You know, I kind of discount the Lingle Fort Laramie score because, again, they had already played 2 games earlier in the week. And again, I know you get to state tournament, you're playing 3 straight days. But again, you know, I look at, hey, they solidified their spot. They knew where they were going to be at. And again,
if they beat Lingle Fort Laramie, that would have put them as the 1 seed because that would have broken the tie. Again, those 2 teams at least tied in the quadrant play. And again, obviously, overall record
belongs to the Lingle Fort Laramie.
So that was kind of the big key difference in that contest was Pine, and same with Lingle Fort Laramie. Both teams had something to play for, again, for that 1 seed. But either way, I think for the Lady Hornets, you're pretty damn happy if you're the number 2 seed, especially how this season had a very slow start for Pine Bluffs.
Yeah, and again, you only have a couple of seniors on that team, and you got
they got height.
They got height. They got sophomores. They got freshmen. They got juniors. Again, if I look at that lineup right, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, a senior, junior, the center's a sophomore, the one forward is a freshman, and if I'm missing it, I think I'm missing a guard. But anyway, they only got 1 senior starting.
Yeah.
Everybody else are underclassmen. So again, this is and again, when you bring kids off the bench, you're bringing freshmen off the bench that are 6 foot, and you have another junior, a twin sister who's 5'6", who also handles the basketball. So again, the talent portion of the program finally meshed together during the conference season.
And this
for Burns, it's a different story.
For Coach Forbes, though, again, this is where you want your team to mesh it and figure things out. It's at the tail end of the season where you have this momentum heading into the East Regional Tournament, where right now this team that wrote off a couple weeks ago saying, no, sorry, next season, maybe at least in the state tournament, now give them a hell of a lot of respect saying, yeah, can they beat Wright coming up on Thursday? Yeah, I think so. Again, if they move on, they would take on the winner of Sundance and Niobrara County. At least that being Lusk. Again, Sundance is the host team in that contest. You go with Sundance to probably win that one. They are the number 1 seed out of the Northeast.
That might be your upset.
Who knows?
That could be
that could be your big upset again with Sundance being at home hosting it in front of their home crowd. Yeah, without a doubt. But right now, again, Pine find themselves in a pretty good position right now to make it to the state tournament. I say they can. We shift focus over to the Burns Lady Bronx, where, again, I put the Bronx as that fringe team to, again, represent and be one of the, at least kind of the Final Four into the state tournament. For the Lady Bronx, for Coach Ward, we've seen a lot of issues. Where again, we talk about Pine having things kind of in the right direction. Burns is kind of taking a little bit of a step back. And is it because of the cancellations, the postponements, the travel issues, again, with all the snow that we've been having out here? Maybe that has kind of put a little damper on for the Burns Lady Bronx that, again, kind of alters your play, alters your mindset, alters, again, what you're used to, or at least what you were hoping to have on this schedule this season. So, again, Burns taking on Tongue River.
But again,
Lady Eagles, I think, win that game.
I don't know. The 4 juniors at start and the 1 senior. And the key senior needs to be out there. If she's not out there, and again, she's going up against the bigs every time. That's the Cower kid. If she gets into foul difficulty.
Cower's the big, yeah.
She gets into foul difficulty.
It's over.
The team's a mess.
It's over.
Yeah. And that's just it. You got to keep her on the floor. She's got to be out there for 4 solid quarters. That's when they're good. She's tough inside, but she's also good on the outside. She's got a good soft touch from the outside, and you want her at the free throw line.
Yeah.
So for Burns and Coach Ward, and we keep our fingers crossed. Again, they've got 4 quality juniors out there, but they got to handle the basketball better. And again, you got to
avoid foul situations because
they
again,
do get into foul difficulty.
We go back to that Pine Bluffs game again. How we were talking in the first half again. How many players were in foul difficulty, and eventually you saw a few at least foul out of that ball game. That is the key factor. If Burns plays the way that they did against Tongue River, Tongue River's going to move past them in that opening round. Where I say on the boys' side, Pine and Burns. Pine, yes. Burns, maybe. Could make it to the state tournament. Here on the girls' side, Pine, yes. I think, again, how Lindsey Forbes has got this team moving right now. Mm-hmm. For the Burns Lady Bronx, that's a team that, unfortunately, I think could get bounced out with all those issues.
But
again, they don't need to play a perfect game. They don't need to play a near perfect game. You got to play a lot better than you have down this stretch right now. But we look to the Northeast. We look to Lingo Fort Laramie. There's a lot of talent on this girls' side in the Eastern Conference. And again, could Wright pull, take away one of those positions from Burns? Yeah. Who knows with Bighorn, with the Lady Rams?
Too, again, I always say that number 3 upset. Again, the 3-2 matchups are always the tough ones to call. This could be our 3 right here. I can't
guarantee Pine will win against Wright. I think they can. I think they should, but I can't guarantee it compared to, again, Pine's other matchup on the boys' side.
No, I'm talking about Tongue River. I'm talking.
I'm just saying you're talking about a potential 3 upset. I could see it there with Wright. It wouldn't surprise me. If Burns pulls off the upset against Tongue River, wouldn't surprise me. But do I expect them to get past Tongue River? Tongue River is really, and again, seeing some of those scores and seeing where they stand right now in the Northeast Quadrant, they're pretty impressive.
But when Burns has all 5 of their kids out there, they're starters. And again, their bench is not weak, but it has a little bit of a drop-off for sure. But my point is, you keep those 5 kids out there. They're pretty athletic, pretty competitive.
I think right now in Laramie County for Class 2A, is there a shot for all 4 of those teams to make it to the state tournament? Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
I agree.
Right now, the only 2 that I question and have issues with
Burns boys
and Burns Lady Bronx. I think both of those teams have a tougher route to get to the state tournament. They're going to have to prove themselves. They're going to have to get things kind of gelling in the right direction. But do they have a shot? Yeah, without a doubt. But it's going to take a lot. But again, do all 4 teams have a legitimate shot of making it to the state tournament? Yeah. And again, for those Lady Bronx, for the Burns Lady Bronx, it's been some time. It's been a couple of seasons since they have been in that state tournament. What a way to get healthy and an opportunity right here. And I think they have a beautiful chance to get back in the state tournament.
And that's what I'm saying, too. That senior leadership, Cower's got to be on the floor. If they are going to make a run in this tournament, she's got to be on the floor. She cannot play 4 minutes at a quarter and then sit down and foul difficulty and not come back until towards the end of the first half and then pick up another foul, and then you got to sit in the third quarter. got to keep her on the floor. And then I think Coach Ward, in that situation, Nick, they play such tight-nosed defense. They do man-on-man. I think the safest way for Cowher probably would go to that box and one zone.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Pine Bluffs as well, too, if I stand corrected. Again, I do believe the Lady Hornets, again, they were heavy favorites last year to make it to the state tournament. Again, they hosted the regional tournament over at Pine. They got, I do believe, bounced early in that regional tournament. So I think for Coach Forbes and, again, a lot of those Lady Hornets looking for a little avenge loss of what happened last season at part of that regional tournament. So I think they got things gelling well. I think Pine on the girls' side, boys' side, have good shots, very good shots of getting in. Burns, we will see. But right now I feel slightly confident, a lot more confident than I was about a couple weekends ago. But I feel a little bit more confident that I'm saying for all four teams to make it to the state tournament here in Class 2A, I think all four have a legitimate shot. All four can. Things have to go their way for Burns for both the boys and girls.
Everybody's 0-0 when they go to these tournaments. I'm gonna go one less than you. I say 3 out of 4 got a shot in my book that can move on to that next level, state tournament.
Who's the one that's out?
I don't think the Burns Bronx boys. I just think
that's tough. Yeah.
I think their height. That's the only thing. Their height and their inexperience off the bench. Just even though they've got a lot of minutes, just don't see it. Again, what Pine Bluffs did to them, and again, you're going to go up against a 2 seed out of the North. And then if you happen to win, which would be a good thing, you got to take on the 1 seed. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, we'll see again as that'll happen this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday up there. Sundance and Moorcraft, again, we will not be there, but again, best of luck to all 4 of those teams, and hopefully we'll pull off, again, victories and get into the state tournament. So looking forward to, again, seeing who will be up there in Casper, where we will be up there for the East Regional Tournament.
We'll be there at the same – by the way, for our friends in eastern Laramie County, we will be in Casper at Natrona with the East Central and South, and – whether we have 1 or 2 representatives there on that Thursday, I mean, we could probably have about 6 games on the air. Who knows? But one of our local teams may have to suffer.
Yeah.
So, because we definitely do want to, talk about if it's Pine as the number 1 seed, whatever the case may be. We might be able to catch a late night game with Pine Bluffs. Again, we've got to check all the times.
The state tournament definitely takes a little bit more precedent, even though, again, they are, at least in Laramie County, it is something that, again, does take a little bit more precedent as, again, these teams are vying for a state tournament where Cheyenne schools are, again, vying to at least position themselves for, again, state tournament for that the weekend after. So, yeah, we'll see how things size up on the schedule. Again, we'll know here this upcoming weekend, again, what happens, or at least how it sizes up for the regional tournament, and who wins out of the 2A tournament. So,
can I turn over the play-by-play mic to you? Because I'm going to probably be dead by Thursday night.
Probably not. Anyways, as we'll wrap things up here today of the Pro Show, again, reminding folks very quickly, today's program will be re-aired later on 4 to 6 o'clock here on 1480 Carry. So, again, if you missed our interview with Jim Shaffer, again, that was hour number 1, or again, any of our conversation from today's show, again, catch it, again, replaying here on the audio side, again, 1480 AM, 101.1 FM at 1480carry.com. Again, check that out 4 and 6 o'clock later on today, 8 until 10, Golden Age of Radio. Again, we'll play 2 episodes of All-Star Western Theater, 2 episodes of Meet the Press, so again, tune in for that. Tomorrow's episode, for at least the Pro Show, tomorrow's edition, I should say, we will have, at least as I'm racking my brain, Victoria Matiash, which, again, we have not spoken with her in a couple of years. We'll bring her back on as we can go back to the pros. We will talk with her. She is the ESPN.com NHL insider. We'll talk about NHL trade deadline, talk about the Colorado Avalanche with her. That'll be in hour number 1. Hour number 2, we'll be joined with Tyler Kimsey, head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets, as they gear up for their state title, again, at least regional tournament, and again, at least defending their 2A state championship. So we'll talk with him and his thoughts on, again, their contest.
Well, I'm glad we're talking hockey tomorrow because, hey, there's no pro hoops. They've been on the All-Star break. So, again, I think the Nuggets will be at the Cavaliers coming up on Thursday. So let's talk a little hockey tomorrow. All right, that's going to wrap up the Pro Show for today. For Nick Proietti, I'm Larry Proietti. We now return to regular programming.